Hey guys, so we've been riding the Pint S quite a bit, and one thing that we've noticed is it's actually got pretty similar specs to the old XR, so we kind of wanted to make a quick video comparing the two. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so both these boards are actually rated the exact same top speed. So they both have a top speed of about 20 miles per hour, but their pushback is a little bit different. So the XR pushback, it's very subtle, so it's super easy to push through, but when you get to around, I want to say 18, 17 miles per hour, it starts pushing you back and starts buzzing at you. It's a lot easier to push back, but I feel like the pushback on this board, it's a little more harsh than XR pushback, but the haptic buzz is a lot quieter. So, it's kind of just up to you, do you rather stronger pushback, but you can't really hear the haptic buzz that much? Or do you rather very subtle pushback that's easy to push through, but it's gonna be yelling at you the whole time? All right, so one thing that's cool is the Pint S is actually a little bit stronger than the XR, which is surprising because, when the XR came out, it was their huge flagship board. But yeah, so it's a little bit easier, if you want to go up certain things like this, that's definitely a steep hill right there. To do that slowly, I could do it easily on the Pint S, but if I were to try it on the XR, if I try to match the speed, it just, it doesn't quite make it, it kind of yells at you a little bit. You can still do it if you go a little bit faster, but it's not quite the same torque. Also that slick tire is a lot less grippy than this one with all the treads and stuff. So I don't know, this one's a slightly more powerful board, but they're still pretty similar in that way. All right, so the range of these two boards are honestly super similar. So the Pint S is rated for 12 to 18 miles of range, and they say the XR just goes up to 18. So it's pretty much the same. I feel like if you are riding the Pint S at high speeds, nearing pushback the whole time, the range will start to die down a little bit, and you'll have slightly less range. So it kind of just depends on how you ride, but that's another way that these boards are super alike.
Okay, so one thing to know is that the XR is actually noticeably lighter than the Pint S. And when you're carrying it with the Pint S, you have the Mag Camo Pro. It feels really good because, one, it's metal, but it has rubber for your knuckles so that it's soft to carry. This one, the XR, you have a little cutout to carry like this. So for carrying wise, the Pint S is much more portable and much easier to carry, but the XR is lighter. The XR comes with a much stronger charger than the home charger for the Pint S. This is the Ultra charger, so they're about the same strength right now, but the normal charger that the Pint S comes with is the Pint home charger.
Yeah, so this is the normal XR charger right next to the Pint Ultra charger, and they're the exact same size. So it's just the XR just comes with a much better charger.
It's about twice as strong as the Pint S home charger. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so this tire is way better for tricks like that where you have to get off the board for a second, because when doing tricks on this board, it's a lot more likely to roll over just because that tire is a little curved, but this one being so flat, it kind of just rides on forever.
Yeah, so me and Christian, we both prefer the Pint S, but that's just because both boards have completely different ride fitness.
Yeah, so the main difference between the ride feels is, it's really just mostly like the size of it or the tire. The Pint platform is a lot smaller, so it's kind of a lot more like, it's like nimble between your feet. But really the biggest thing is these tires. This one's a lot more curved. So, if you're riding it, you could really get those nice, smooth, buttery turns, and you could just really mess around with it. Whereas the XR is it's really just a completely different board. Like, it's not trying to do the same thing at all, but this tire is so flat that it's much harder to really get those turns unless you shift, It's really it's a completely different kind of board. So this one feels a lot more stable. And one thing that my friend was saying that I think is actually a perfect demonstration is this one's a lot more like a longboard, if that makes sense. It's for long distances. You feel very secure and firm on it. It's nice, big, and flat, and you could go forever. This one, on the other hand, it's like your nice little pocket, like beautifully carvy feeling, like it's like almost like a toy feeling, but it's just as powerful, if not a little more powerful than the XR. So that's really the only reason that we kind of like the Pint S better, just because we kind of prefer the feeling of this tire, which you can actually put a more carvy tire on the XR if you want, or vice versa. You can put a flatter tire on the Pint S. All right, one thing I almost forgot to talk about that's super important is the Footpad. So those ones, as I said, like a longboard, it's just super flat and it's very basic. But these ones, I don't know if you could tell, but they're super flared. So it really it goes up and like kind of concaves like into the board. So it like really cups your shoe and like pushes it further in. And it's a lot more of a comfortable foot pad. Whereas these, it's just, a very flat, very basic, raw looking foot pad. So, they're very different, but it's really just whichever one you think you might prefer is better for you. And actually, one thing to note is these are not the stock Pint S foot pads. I actually got the rubber ones. So these ones are also slightly softer, which is really nice because after really long rides, if you're just on a normal flat foot pad, your feet might get a little tired. But these, with them being softer, it really takes away a lot of that foot fatigue. Although, with them being rubber, you might experience a tiny bit of squeaking just because it's rubber against plastic. So that's one thing to keep in mind.